Okay, welcome back. What I want to do is continue with Certificate in Electrotechnical Technology, Level 2, Unit 4, Outcome 3A, Session 3. Now, wiring systems, PVC. And what I want to do, now bear in mind that these units here are past units, okay? The technology remains the same, allowing for improvements with updates and so forth, but the knowledge base still is required, okay? These here may have changed, but the system will remain constant. Okay. Wiring systems, PVC. Installation, building and structures, outcome 3A. Identify the different types of electrical installations and systems. Okay. Now let me just put this in, bring this a little bit closer so we are not too far out. I want to make sure that we get the headings in. Okay. I don't want them to be missing. That's very important. Okay. Identify the different types of electrical installations and systems. Revision of previous sessions. Lighting types dependent on the setting and client's preferences. Lighting controls also vary depending on the setting and client's choice. Heating has three forms of transfer: radiation, conduction, and convection. The three main types of supply are TNS, TNCS, and TT systems. The control of heating systems depends on their usage. There are several different types of thermostats. Now be aware that there may well have been more since this was written, so take that into account, please. Thank you. Outcomes from this session. At the end of this session, you should be able to install PVC cables correctly, state the advantages and disadvantages of using PVC cables. Okay. I need to go in a bit more. Let me see if I need to go in a bit more. Keep everything up front. Okay. Should be okay there, I think. I pull back a bit because sometimes when I see on my camera, when I look back at it, I'll just be too close, okay? So hopefully I'm not. PVC insulated cable. PVC insulated cable is the most common use today. Singles, one conductor covered in PVC. Okay. And side view, end view, okay. Double insulated singles, one conductor covered in 2 layers of PVC, okay. And we normally use double insulated for domestic wiring, okay. PVC insulated cables, twin and CPC cable. You have your twin. Obviously you will conform to the correct phase and neutral conductors as to whatever color is relevant in your time, okay. And if you need to know what that is, you refer to the IEE regulations and they will tell you the colors with regard to phase and neutral, okay. In this case here, it is brown for phase, blue for neutral, okay. 3 core, okay, yeah. Now, advantages and disadvantages of PVC cable. Advantage: cheap to install. Insulation is waterproof, long lifetime, easily to install, cheap to buy. Disadvantage: insulation becomes brittle below 4 degrees Celsius. Insulation becomes soft above 60 Celsius. Poor mechanical strength. And it is affected by sunlight. Okay, so bear that in mind. Thank you. Now, installing PVC cables. Now, singles are installed within conduit or trunking to provide protection, but remember that the space here is important. We need the space here to allow heat dissipation from the number of cables within the enclosed space of conduit. Okay, and that heat spacing factor is important. Right, if you have too many cables in here, then the heat factor in here will build up and thereby giving you a problem with regards to the insulation, which will cause the insulation on the cable taking in the most heat to break down. Therefore, you'll then have a problem. Okay, the same thing applying conduit as it does in trunking. Okay, you look for the percentage space factor in regards to each state for that specific time in regards to the IEE regulations, and you need to be sure that you have complied with that spacing factor, because if an error occurs here and over a period of time the problem builds up and the heat becomes an issue, you will have a problem. Okay, you will be basically responsible for that issue. Double-threaded twin and 3-core cables can usually be installed without any extra protection. Okay. These are the zones where your cables, you can just run your cables in to your given points. Okay, that's all it is saying. In normal conditions, these cables can be installed in the zone areas without any other protection. In areas outside the zone shown, additional protection such as plastic capping should be used to prevent damage from nails, etc. Okay, and if any of you haven't had experience of having a nail go for a cable, you're in for a treat. Cables laid in ceiling voids. It is not acceptable to lay the cables wherever you like. You can't. They have to be run in a given sequence, and they must be run in a manner where it provides safety to the cable but does not weaken the structure of the building. Here we can clip to the joint bent to correct radii. Okay. Other services also need to use the space. Insulation will probably also be present. This requires extra calculation to be made for account for the inability for the heat from the cable to be dispersed. Cables should be run at right angles, not in a spider's web. Okay. In short term, we do not want a spider's web. We want cables in a structured manner at all times. It allows for other people to function within that given space. And if you're wondering, insulation, plumbers, central heating, aerial cables, etc. Cables run on the floors. 4 permissible ways of passing cables through a joist. Okay. These are just showing you how we can pass cables through a joist. Single core cables in heavy gauge steel conduit. Okay. Or you can hole drill in neutral axis of the joist, or you can drill a hole in the neutral axis of the joist. Normally we go for the holes. We don't go for this make big chunk out of the joist, because what you then do, you have to be aware that the larger pieces that you take out of the joist, it means that you're weakening it, and where you have got a hole drilled through, I would always recommend you put in an additional piece of support to where you brought your cables through. Okay, when running cables through joints and on the floors, drilling too many holes could weaken the structure. Remember, they are there for support. Okay, it's important that you do not weaken that structure. Okay. Special insulations, hole made good with non-combustible material, some sand cement mixture. Okay. Run for fire barriers. Care must be taken to ensure the PVC sheet can't be damaged. It should be installed in conduit to allow for rewiring if needed at a later date, should there be any fires or hazards occurred. Okay. Special installation continues. Solar radiation can increase the temperature of the cable by up to 20 degrees. By up to 20%. Conduit before heating has occurred. And you can see conduit effect of solar radiation. Okay. Now, my view here is that this is plastic conduit. Okay. Plastic conduit, steel conduit will not bend like this, so you would need to assume that this is plastic, which would have this effect. Now, what can we use in place of this? For instance, we can use steel conduit. Okay, steel conduit, which will not give you this problem. Okay. Care needs to be taken when running cables outside to take into account of the solar effects. Flora, fauna, rats use cables to sharpen their teeth. Extra protection is needed. Farms, etc., mold growth, oil, and other corrosive materials. So you need to take those into account whenever you're running cables. Okay. Oh, crumbs. Did I get there? Sorry, it's okay. He just gave me a little. Right, distance for cables again. You must check and confirm with the IEE regulations of the current date of your IEE regulations. We're currently in our 18th edition. Okay, some of you may well be dealing in the future with the 19th and 20th edition of the IEE regs. Make sure you have complied with the cable distance as stated within the IEE regs. This may, as it stands now, but it may well change in due course. Allow for that factor. Clipping distances of cables. Okay, again, clipping distance means that clip to this clip. Okay, each clip, so that they are equal distances apart. Installing cables. Okay, this bend radii must always be there. The reason for that is that if you bend this cable too sharply, you will cause it to break. Okay, so the bend is okay, and these are cable clip masonry pin plastic body. Okay, clipping PVC insulated cables can be installed in trunking, conduit, or cable tray on wall surfaces, but they need to be installed tidily and safely. On the floors or ceiling, they need to be clipped using a clip similar to the illustration. A neat job makes fault finding easier, and believe me, it does. It works. Bending care must be taken when bending cables. Too much movement can lead to breaks in the conductors. Cables should not be twisted either. Okay. Right. Never split a cable like this, okay? Never, ever split a cable like this. I know I'm sure showing you this here, but when I looked at this myself, it's not how I would have done it. And in my experience, you would simply use the earth conductor and pull it down, okay, safely, okay, providing you have enough space. So you would make sure you did that before you terminate your conductors at the terminal point. But don't ever split a cable down like this. There's a couple of things wrong with this method. Is that one, you're likely to damage inner cable conductors. Here you can see that you could cut or strip the neutral conductor, okay, and you don't want to be doing that. Then secondly, you could also cause damage to the earth conductor, CPC. So what you would do, make a little split with pair of side cutters at the top and pull the earth cable, pull the CPC down slowly, gently, with using a pliers, okay? Don't go like a lunatic and yank it, okay? And you'll find that this will come away quite neatly, where you can then use a knife to then etch it and take it apart, take it away, okay? Conductor prepared, ready for termination, okay? Here you have one, end bent over to fill the terminal, okay? It must be bent over to fill the terminal, mustn't be short. That's wrong. Excessive amount of conductor. Here you have excessive amount of conductor, okay? Don't need that, okay? Should terminate neatly, okay? Be careful not to remove the insulation. You can also use side cutters to cut down the middle and pull at the CPC, which is what I've just told you can do, okay? And that is the safest means of getting that done. If not, you will be there pulling other cables again. Take care when tidying the ends. Strip back the conductors. They only double over the conductors enough to fill the whole termination. Never use a knife at right angles or you might cut the cables, okay? It's telling you now what I'm just telling you already, right? Okay, right, thank you. I hope you found this useful. Have a good day. Bye bye.